on top of your sternum. And then with your arms, you want to make sure that this kind of lines up with the seam. See how my middle finger is with the seam of my pants here? So I'm standing straight up, right? From there, in order to get the lean, I lean only from the ankles, and that's it. See, if I were to lean from this, it would look like that. If I were to lean from my head, it would look like this. So all of this is stacked up, and I lean from the ankles, and that's it. So that's the posture.
Get the check for the text.
Write it down for me. Okay? So that's it.
Cool.
And when you shift weight, a lot of people when they shift weight, they like to, just kind of dilly-dally in between their weight shift. But in Tango, we get there. And then we get there. And we get there.
You get your weight on the front foot as soon as possible.
You get your weight on your foot as soon as possible. Most of the time. Sometimes you'll get stopped in the middle, but that's very rare, and that's not like the typical thing. So if I'm going to the side, I'm going to the side. You see that? What I'm not doing is slowly pushing to the side. Right? I'm just getting there. Now what you want to make sure doesn't happen too, is your hips going out of place and getting out of your line. Because once you're lined up here, you're always lined up here. See, I'm still lined up over that. Good? So let's step to the side again. See, just by slightly leaning back, just a little bit. Not here, but taking a little bit of the weight off of the forward of the foot. And then from there, I start to step back, and she now drives into me. Now she's the one at this point in time that's determining, in a way, how big the steps are.
Okay. Would you say what you said again about the one who leads?
The one who's going forward is the one that's bringing the energy into the couple.
Yes.
That's the driving force behind how big the steps are going to be, how fast you're going to go. The way that the guy controls that is he opens the doorway and he begins to move, and then she should fill that space. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
She should, the door's open, you need to go through it. If he opens the door, you don't go through it. Yeah, he may use his own force to go without you, but then you're going to get this bumpy feeling.
And it doesn't look cool.
Right. Right.
Okay, would you say what you said about her maintaining the same distance?
Yeah. So if our feet are this far apart and I'm stepping forward, if I step and she doesn't maintain the same amount of distance, eventually one of us has to lean back in order to compensate, right? And we don't ever want that. So as the follow, it's more her job to stay and maintain the distance more than it is mine, because since I'm driving into her, then she has to back away from me as I go.
Yeah.
So see, now she's got the same amount of distance that we started with.
Yeah. Can I say something about that?
Sure.
Yeah, I've noticed when I dance with a lot of different women, I run into that a lot. I'm just walking around, just dancing. Next thing I know, I'm right on over, practically on top of them.
Because they don't know how to follow most of the time appropriately.
Okay.
Most of the women, that's the hardest thing for the woman to learn, is how to maintain her connection with her partner in an appropriate way. Most of the time, ladies aren't used to taking very big steps, and they're just kind of meandering through. So just remember, that's one of the hardest parts for you to learn.
Okay.
And you just have to practice that.
It's just practice. Because it feels weird sometimes that this guy's going to take this step and you have to stay, maintain the distance. Sometimes it's a very awkward step, especially if the guy, takes a step diagonally. You're like, okay, I'm taking a diagonal step. I look like a duck, but you got to do it. You know what I mean? It's still my job, regardless of what the guy does, is to maintain that.
Okay, would you mind repeating all that now? Starting with that thing?
Okay. So a common mistake that guys make in their leading is they try to lead with their fingertips or with their right hand particularly, and they try to push the girl everywhere they're going to go, right?
Yeah.
What we don't want to do is that. What this right hand for is a support, and it's a guideline. This is a frame, and the frame is like, a rail frame, on the steps that you use. It's something for the girl to use as a guideline of where she should be. So if I'm doing ochos with her, I lead with my sternum, right? And this is simply a frame, so that if she loses her balance or something, she can use that. She could push against this and use this to keep her balance.
Okay. And also, talk a little bit about the placement of the hand. I had it too far apparently.
Yeah, you had it, you were breaking your hand, actually you were up here like this, and you were taking more of a ballroom hold,
Yeah.
and you were pulling in,
Uh-huh.
which doesn't allow her to get her steps back. She could get her step back, but then she would be like this. So what that does is it makes her lean back as she's dancing just to get the space.
Okay.
So here, if I'm doing that, do you see how that's, if she takes a step back, can you see how her weight can't get to that foot? So in order to do it, she's going to have to push this back. Sorry.
Okay.
Sorry. I usually don't do that.
Okay.
We're learning. This is education.
So, but if I leave this just around her for support, and I don't count on it as the lead, then she can keep whatever posture that she wants.
Okay. Got it.
Right?
Thank you.
I mean, does that make sense?
Okay. Run all that by me one more time, please. I know I'm pained.
No, it's okay. Okay, so right now the way that you're getting your posture correct, but as soon as you start taking a step, then you sink into your pelvis. Even if it's just a little bit, it's still enough to throw her off balance. Because look, if I do this, then where is she going to lead from? Where is she going to follow me from? She's going to have to stick her butt out too, or stick her pelvis in just to compensate. So what you want to do is you want to keep everything lined up, and when you take a step, be committed to the step. Get there. Whenever your pelvis is like this, then you're less committed to the step and your weight's more back.
Yeah, that's so true. Well said.
Okay.
Be committed to the step. I like that.
Would have got it.
Okay.
It does
So,
help me to exaggerate movements that
Right.
as I'm learning them.
Right.
all right,
So
now,
the-
can we turn that down just a little bit
Yeah,
since
yeah,
it's just us here? I can get this recorded better that way.
Is that good?
Yeah, anything. Just I just want to be able to catch you.
Okay, so the key to leading in tango, the tango is all about subtleties, and I want to stress that completely. It's all about subtleties. So if I'm here like this, my lead to get her on one foot or the other would be to shift my own weight, right? So I can feel her on whatever foot she's on. So from here, I've put her on her left foot. Now, if I wanted to lead her in an ocho, I have to prepare the ocho, correct? So we have the preparation of the ocho, which is I turn my sternum. When I turn my sternum, she matches. From there, I can take either my left foot back or I can take my right foot to the side as long as she doesn't feel my weight shift, and we step. So your weight was on this foot.
Yeah.
What you decided to do was shift your weight, and I didn't shift it. So you shifted it on your own.
Okay.
Because you questioned, what foot do I step forward with? And I saw it in your eyes.
Still
You
thinking
were
about
ready
the
to go
steps.
with this one, but this one was the one that you ended up going on. So I put you on your weight. All you have to worry about is what foot you're on. Now, you know what foot you're on, right? Now we're just going to step. There, that's it. So that's the end of the step right there. Now all I need to do is prepare her for the next ocho. How do I do that? I turn my own sternum. You know, I can have my feet together, I can have my feet apart, whatever I want to do. And then that's the end of the step. So the step really has two parts, the preparation and the execution. The preparation and the execution. Preparation, execution, preparation, execution.
Prep being
that make
turn
sense?
the
So
sternum.
there's really less for me to actually do. It's more like following
The preparations. Right. And the preparations are like the links between the executions. Right? So each step has two parts. Prep, execute, prep, execute. And
What's
the
involved with
is
the prep?
link.
That's mostly just
It's-
turning
it's-
the body, turning
yeah,
the
it's-
sternum, right?
Yeah, it's like
where you lead from.
the preparation is like, let's say I want her to do a back ocho. Okay, how do I get her on the back ocho? I've got to put her on one of her feet. Now what do I do to get her in a back ocho? I prepare her body to go in back ocho, and then I execute it. I prepare and I execute. I want her to take a side step. What do I do? I prepare her to take the side step, and then we execute it.
Okay. What if you're walking? This is how I usually get into it, Ocho. I'm just walking with her, and then I do this little stutter step thing, and then we're on opposite feet then. So would you run by that, how to lead that?
Let me see what you're doing first.
Okay.
Do you want me to film it?
Yeah, that's fine. Okay.
Well, actually, I need to watch what you're doing, so I'm going to.